My hair makes me look like a chia pet thanks to quarantine, and I don't like it.
Hello, all my Holomaniacs out there. Welcome back to the channel. It is so great to see you again. Now, not too long ago, I did a tier list where I ranked every single Disney feature animated film. And y'all really seemed to enjoy that. And the number one request I got from that video is, can you do Pixar? My answer to that is yes, I will totally do Pixar. But this one has proven to be a far bigger challenge than feature animation was, which is weird because there was 58 of those, and there's only 22 of these. I have literally had to remake this video like 3 or 4 times just because I'm like, do I really think that? Oh my gosh, do I really want to put that one above this one? Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I think Pixar, just most of their films are just absolutely phenomenal. There's very few that I would even actively say that I dislike. But I think I finally got all of my opinions and thoughts in order. Speaking of which, before we start, just so you guys know, this is strictly my opinion, and if you disagree with me, I think that is fantastic. Go enjoy it. More power to you. I don't want to take that away from you. It's just not my thing. All right, let's get to it, shall we? First up, Toy Story from 1995. Y'all, I feel like most people, when you talk about favorite Pixar movies, it's usually something from the Toy Story franchise or The Incredibles. And not everybody, but most people, at least most people that I talk to, seem to have that opinion. Whereas I thoroughly enjoy Toy Story. I think it's great. It's definitely not my favorite, but it is fantastic. And for a studio, for your first film to be as good as Toy Story, that is huge. You're gonna go in A. I can't put you in S, but I can't put you any lower than A. A is a great spot for you. Bugs Life. Bugs Life, I think it's fine. It's a good film. You know, it's not bad, but I also don't love it nearly as much as I do Toy Story or a bunch of other Pixar films on this list. I'm gonna put you over in C, and yeah, it's definitely not bad, but definitely not my favorite. Toy Story 2, I thought was great. About on par with the first Toy Story. I liked it a little bit less, but just a little bit. Like Toy Story's right here, and Toy Story 2 is like right there. They're like right next to each other. They're like right there on the scale, so we're gonna put them right next to each other on the tier list. Go bam, right there. All right, now Monsters, Inc. I don't know what it is. Like Monsters, Inc., I don't think gets enough love. I mean, they get a decent amount of love. I mean, they got a prequel later, but I mean, I don't know. Out of all of like the early stuff, this is one of my favorites. Like, I don't know, there's something about just the emotion between Sully and Boo that I just find so endearing and so amazing that, yeah, I like it more than either of the first 2 Toy Stories. Then we come to Finding Nemo. You're gonna hear me say this a lot. This is a fantastic film. Remember, like I said in the feature animation video, the things that get to me most are the emotional roller coasters. And lo and behold, Finding Nemo is an emotional roller coaster. So guess where it's going? Just keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming into S tier. Alright, now we come to The Incredibles. And I'm gonna be real honest here. I don't get it. Whereas I think it's good and well made, and I thoroughly enjoy it, I could never say I would put it even close to number 1. And I wish I could say why I don't like it as much as everybody else. Maybe it's just because I'm not as into superheroes as like everyone else is. I am into superheroes. Like, I've watched every movie from the MCU. I've watched like maybe a quarter of the DC films. Maybe it's also a Brad Bird thing, because I feel like a lot of people feel that way about Brad Bird's films. And I like Brad Bird's films. Like, there's The Iron Giant, Incredibles, Ratatouille. But most of them, I just can't get into. Like, there's something holding me back from getting into it as much as everyone else does and as much as the movie wants me to get into. So for me, Incredibles is just sitting at a B. I think it's good. It's great even, but not as good as this stuff. All right, now we come to Cars. Cars has so often been the black sheep of Pixar, and you know what? I feel like part of that is deserved, but maybe not as much as people harp on it for. At least the first movie. We'll get to the other ones later. But the first movie, I thought was good. You know, it wasn't great. It wasn't groundbreaking. It wasn't amazing, but, you know, it had a good heart. It had good moments, but I can't say it's amazing either, so you're gonna go right above A Bug's Life. I enjoyed Cars. I thought it was fun. And that's all I have to say about that. All right, now we come to Ratatouille. Now, this is the one exception to the Brad Bird rule from earlier. This is the one movie that I get. And it's surprisingly the one that everybody else doesn't remember. And it makes me sad. Everyone's like, oh, Iron Giant. Oh, Incredibles. And I'm like, Ratatouille. Oh, yeah, I guess he did make that one. Okay, whatever. I feel like I'm crazy. I feel like I'm crazy when it comes to Brad Bird films, but just... I think Ratatouille is my favorite film that he's ever made. I adore Ratatouille. Granted, when I was younger, I watched it and I was just like, oh yeah, that was good, but it was kind of weird. But now as an adult, I'm like, oh, this is remarkable. Just the older I get, the more I love it, especially that scene with Anton Ego talking about how a critic works and their mindset. It's just, oh, it's fantastic. You go up in S tier. Très magnifique. All right, next up we have WALL-E. And WALL-E is another one of those, y'all, just, it is a masterpiece. It has masterpiece written all over this thing. Love you, love you, love you. And now we come to Up, y'all. We come to Up. I'm gonna cry just thinking about this movie. And y'all know what happens to movies on these lists. If they sent me on an emotional roller coaster, and this one sent me on the craziest emotional roller coaster out of all the Pixar films. You go right there. You have earned your title as my favorite Pixar movie. I love movies that make me cry. I love movies that make me laugh. I love movies that make me think and feel every emotion, and this did it. But no, in all seriousness, Up is actually my second favorite animated film of all time, period. Not just in Pixar or Disney. The only animated film that I like better is Lion King. That's how much I love Up, is that it's right there next to Lion King. I can't get enough of Up. I love it. Now we come to Toy Story 3. Now, Toy Story 3 is actually my favorite of all the Toy Story films. And honestly, I like better than Monsters Inc. too, but not as much as WALL-E or Ratatouille or Nemo or Up. So it's gonna go head of the pack in A tier. Yeah. And now we're at Cars 2. I'm just gonna say this, it's no mystery where this one's going. You never should have made Mater the main character, which is weird because he was my favorite part of Cars 1, and even as someone who is a Mater fan, I love me some Mater now. There was too much Mater in Cars 2. Yeah, no, it's not good. Alright, now we come to Brave. Brave, I have mixed feelings with. On one hand, there is a lot of cool elements that I thought they did with it. Like, you don't really get to see the mother-daughter relationship a whole lot. And I did like a few elements of, like, how they're resolving their differences and stuff. And there were some cool moments. But overall, it just kind of felt the film was a little heavy-handed. It just kind of kept ramming too much in your face. It's kind of like, okay, we get it. Calm down. And it tried to be this big epic story, but I don't know, never quite achieved that. I just see it as okay. And that's why it goes in D. Now we get to Monsters University, where y'all already heard me gush about the first Monsters Inc. and how much I loved it. And I know a lot of people saw Monsters University as a big disappointment, but I can't really say that. I actually kind of liked it. Yeah, I mean, like a lot of people out there, I would have loved to see a sequel that involved Boo and like what it's like now being on the laugh floor instead of a scare floor and how that changed everything. But, you know, for what we got, I thought it was a good story. And come on, you're talking about the main point being it's okay to fail? How many movies has that as their main theme? There's really not that many. It's actually a really cool thing to say. It's like, hey, just because you really want to go after something doesn't mean you're gonna get it. Actually, kind of a mature thing to talk about. And you could argue that this wasn't necessarily best franchise to do it with and all this stuff, but hey, I thought what they did with it was cool. Yeah, the first half was just kind of your standard college story, nothing new, nothing big, but that last bit, like when Mike and Sully have that conversation at the lake, that is what really made this film for me. Made it good to be like, this is just kind of a college movie ripoff to, oh, this became its own thing. All of that stuff kind of made sense now. So you go a solid B for me. Solid B. Inside Out. Like I said before, I love emotional roller coasters. They are my favorite movies. And this is a literal emotional roller coaster. So naturally, it's going to go really high. Not as high as Up, but you are second place. Which I think is funny. Some of my favorite films, Up, Inside Out, Monsters, Inc., all directed by the same guy. You can start noticing a theme that I just really love Pete Docter's work. Pete Docter, that's why I'm so happy he's in charge of Pixar right now. I'm like, yes! Pete Docter's in charge! All the emotional roller coasters! And as you can also kind of notice that I've really had a theme. Around the late 2000s was like my favorite era of Pixar with like WALL-E, Ratatouille, Up. It's brilliant. Just brilliant. Now the Good Dinosaur. I'm actually going to defend Good Dinosaur for a second. I'm not going to argue that this film is like really well written, because it's not. I'm not even going to say that a lot of the story beats make sense, because they don't. Objectively, this film needs a lot of work, but I gotta say, I still liked it. I just have a lot of bias attachment to it. Like, there's a lot of similarities of growing up in the South, and I was very much a kid like Arlo, so I related a lot to that. My dad is basically Arlo's dad, except he didn't die. He's still alive. And it was just, there were so many similarities that I'm just like, oh my gosh, I feel a little too much for Arlo. And also Sam Elliott as a T-Rex is just one of the coolest visuals I've ever seen, and it gets a lot of bonus points just for that. Granted, I don't adore this movie, but I don't come anywhere near to hating this like a lot of people do. There's a lot of issues with this film. I'm not arguing that, but I am arguing that I like it. So you're gonna go in D above Brave. It's not gonna go up super high, but its competition is the rest of Pixar here. All right, now we come to Finding Dory. And I think outside of the Toy Story films, Finding Dory is probably one of the best sequels we got, in my opinion. Like, I went in expecting like oh no, we're going Cars 2 here. The side character gets the main story, but we have a character like Dory who can actually carry a film. And what was a joke in the first movie is now like a major plot point. She can't remember anything. It makes it tragic and funny all at the same time, to where sometimes you're like, am I allowed to laugh at this moment? Or is this a sad thing? And for some reason, I really like that. So Finding Dory, Finding Dory's gonna go up there. I even liked it more than Monsters University. So yeah, you're gonna go solid B. All right, now we come to Cars 3. And I remember when this came out, everyone was like, why are they making a third Cars? The second one was awful, and obviously I agree with you there. But I feel like they wanted to say, hey, we can salvage Cars. Let's not leave Cars on a note of Cars 2 and just move forward. And yeah, I think they saved it. Honestly, I thought it was better than the first Cars, but not a lot better. And now we come to Coco. Coco, beautiful film. Absolutely gorgeous, breathtaking. Love the story, love the characters. Just, I mean, it was an instant classic. Let's be real here. From the second it started, it was just an instant classic. Granted, it's not my favorite out of all these, but I still put it up pretty high. I can't put it above any of the Toy Stories, but I can put it right behind the Toy Stories. So it's gonna trail off the A tier here. It was fun. It was funny. Really tickled my funny bone. Let the dad jokes continue! Alright, now we come to Incredibles 2. I know a lot of people put Incredibles 2 on par with Incredibles 1, but I don't. There are some moments that I think are great. I think everything that involves the family was better done in the sequel than it was in the first one. Like, all the interactions with Bob and the kids, and then with Helen and the kids, and just the whole family dynamic. I felt that was stronger. That scene with Jack and the raccoon, hysterical. But what really killed it for me was the superhero stuff. This villain was awful. I'm sorry if you really liked this villain. I don't know many who do, but she was not a good villain, because her motivation was just so strange. Because her whole thing is like, I'm gonna get rid of supers, but yet I'm going to help make them legal, just to make them illegal again. We might want to workshop your plan a little bit. And also, they tried to make it like it's this big kept secret. But I remember I went and saw like an early screening of just 30 minutes of this movie at Pixar. Like, they invited me for like a early premiere thing. And I only got to see 30 minutes of it. It was chopped up. And one of the scenes we happened to see was her introduction scene. And the second I saw her walk in, I was just like, you're the villain. Like, I didn't even hesitate. I'm just like, you're the villain. Just, there's no doubt in my mind you are the villain. And the whole time I'm like, you're the villain, you're the villain, you're the villain. And then the twist happened and they're like, oh no! And I'm like, yeah, no, come on. It was obvious, y'all. So you're still... me. You're still better than the Cars movies, but... yeah, not a whole lot. Now we come to Toy Story 4. Now I feel like with Toy Story 4, there's two major camps you fall into. One, it was a great sequel, and it needed to happen, and it was great. And the other one, Toy Story 3 was the real ending we needed, and this is basically a fanfic with really good animation. I fall in the second category. I felt like they had to change most of the main characters, entire characters, in order to make another movie happen. The new characters they introduce are good. Not super memorable, but good. Just overall, I felt it was just kind of a mess story. And the best parts, which I argue are like the entire Toy Story gang, the vast majority are stuck in a van the whole time. Buzz got stupid for some reason. And for what it is, I guess it's not horrible, but just, the more I watch it, the more I don't like it. The more I'm just sitting there going like, this just felt weird. You didn't need it. Toy Story 3 was the perfect ending. You were done. Just, I don't know. I had a lot of issues with it. This is a really unpopular opinion, what I'm about to do. But you know what? This is my video, and this is my opinion. I know. There was the gasp heard around the world that I put Toy Story 4 below The Good Dinosaur. I have to ask myself, would I rather watch The Good Dinosaur right now or Toy Story 4? And I would much rather see Sam Elliott as a T-Rex. Onward was just a breath of fresh air for me. After all of these sequels, and especially after what to me was a big crushing disappointment with Toy Story 4, was kind of Pixar coming back into its own, just stopping with the sequels for a while and just going back to original storytelling. Granted, I don't think this is like the pinnacle of their new achievements or anything, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, thoroughly loved it, and for me, it's a solid, it goes right behind The Incredibles for me. I just thought that this was a really good, solid movie. So that's it for my Pixar tier list. I hope you guys enjoyed. So let me know in the comments. Did you agree with most of these? Did you not? Keep it civil. And how mad are you that I actually put Toy Story 4 below The Good Dinosaur? And I'll see you guys later. Bye.